r/us credit. As a teenage boy in middle or high school, what confused you the most about teenage girls? We also don't always talk about guys in the bathroom, so don't think we are. If you're on a double or group date, more than likely we are all sitting on the toilet peeing, complaining about how our shoes are cutting into our heels, or how there's no toilet paper in the stall. Could someone please get me some? Also, someone is bound to be on her period, or had just started, so there's the obligatory conversation. What? I just started. Cue group chat from the other stalls, and that one friend in front of the mirror about how sucky it is that you started. Suddenly you hear a stranger's voice from one of the other stalls at the end. You thought that girl was pooping. Girl, OMG, I started too. Does anyone have a tampon or pad? I've been sitting here for 30 minutes. Sure. Here, pass it down. Passes pad/tampon under the stall wall. Girl, thank you so much. I would have used paper towels until I could get something, but because there's only hand dryers I had to sit here. Oh, you poor thing. Why didn't you use toilet paper? Another voice from another stall pipes up, because this $H plus is thinner than tissue paper, that's why. I've been trying to get one good strand of it for 10 minutes now, but it keeps breaking off into pieces. How are we supposed to wipe with this crap? Who knows? Cue our group sigh. My sophomore year of high school, I had a couple of classes with this girl I had a crush on. Because teachers loved using alphabetical order there, she and I ended up sitting next to each other in those classes. We start passing notes in those classes, talking about random stuff and being a bit flirty. One day I decide to get the courage to ask if she wanted to go out with me to a movie or something. So I ask her out in one of our notes. She replies saying that she's really sorry, but she doesn't like me in that type of way. I was devastated, of course, but I also liked her as a friend and didn't want to lose that. So I replied saying that was okay and asking if we could just forget I asked and keep things the way they were because class would be so boring without our talks. She said yeah, that was fine, and we stayed note buddies throughout the year. I was so confused though, because I thought she felt the same, but I decided to try and not make that mistake again. Fast forward to my senior year, I had to repeat algebra because I fucked up really badly my junior year due to some personal issues. I'm in a class with a bunch of people the grade under me, and I get seated next to this girl named Kate that I thought was so pretty. Like with the other girl, we ended up passing notes to each other in class, and I come to find out not only did I find her physically attractive, but she was also a really awesome person with similar interests. I really liked this girl and crushed hard on her throughout the year. I would make her mix CDs that she would tell me she loved, and she even made me one a couple of times. I'd share with her stories I wrote and also art I was working on. The best part of my day was getting to talk with her during homeroom/algebra. But I was scared of even trying to ask her out because of how I misinterpreted things last time, so I never did. Came really close a couple of times, but never did. A year and a half after I graduated, I'm dating a girl from the same class as her, who had been a friend of mine for a couple of years. We are hanging out with this other girl who was also in my math class, and she brings up Kate and asks why we never dated. I told her I didn't think she thought of me that way, and she was like, "Are you kidding me? She was so into you." At that time it didn't really matter anymore, because I was in a relationship and there was nothing I could do about it, but it did frustrate just how bad I was at reading signals. I mean, I'm still pretty bad at it sometimes, but I wish I had at least tried with Kate. How openly and often they talk about hot guys. Maybe once I talked with my male friends about a girl, but I would always hear them talk about so and so is so hot. Not to say girls are like hoes or whatever, they're just more open about that stuff. Edit. So apparently I'm a huge outlier in this. Honestly, it might be a generational thing, but attractiveness only ever comes up with me friends at like a sleepover or something, and even then it feels forced, and we move on to something else quickly. An example of girls being more open. One time I was snowboarding with two of my female friends, and one was staying in the lodge because she wasn't feeling too good. While me and my other friend are out on the hill, we get an emergency text telling us to get right down to the chalet. When we get there, it turns out it was just two hot dudes. The word no never just meant no, it was a dispiriting, soul-crushing smash to the gut. And you knew that it was written across your forehead that you were an object of total helpless misery. That is until you grew up, got a smidge of self-confidence, and realized that no was just no and nobody else knew. And it wasn't until much later that you realized that it was you, the one who was rejected, who really grew from the experience. Those who did the denying, especially in hindsight of 30+ years, ended up being the most cut off, most isolationist and least fun people you can imagine. So for all you kids out there, find the people who say yes. They may not be the ones whom you lust after, but later on, you'll have had a much richer experience. How the hell do you have so much shit on other people to talk about? I was cursed with sitting between two tables full of teenage girls at a Starbucks once. I had a lot of homework on my hands and they give free refills. Within 5 minutes I had put on my earphones and turned it up to maximum volume because I don't want to know how shitty that one person is. B. Your voices are too loud to fucking ignore. I do this sometimes, so I'm not gonna hold this against you too much, but sometimes you don't have to scream the dead back to life. C. Your laughs pierce the earphones if they're not on maximum, and that high-pitched laugh of 16Y/0 girls hurts me on so many levels. Sneezes are another thing. This one girl in my gov class just has a cartoon sneeze. How the hell does that happen? How is that sneeze gonna do what it's supposed to when you can barely sense its power? That can't be healthy. In hindsight, if I wondered if a girl was into me, it was too late. If I was into them, I should've made a more eye contact and paid attention to their body language. Girls pick up on that kind of stuff. If they like you, they will return the gestures. They'll hold the gazing conversation, because the real conversation is through body language and they like what they're experiencing. It makes them feel special, and they feel like they're connecting with someone. Any guy can start a conversation with a girl by making eye contact. You don't really have to talk about anything important, and you will notice their body language opens up. They'll do things like start playing with their hair, or become more animated when talking. After that, it helps to either ask if they want to do something and/or get their number. It solidifies your interest, and you figure out quick if it's going to go somewhere, but don't ask if they have a boyfriend or if they like such and such band or food. You need to simplify it for them into a yes or no answer. Asking if they have a boyfriend implies a relationship when they don't really know you yet, and asking dependent questions makes you seem predictable and like you are beating around the bush. After that, if you get their number, don't blow them up. Put some thought into calling or messaging them. You want to think about spending time together again. That means you need decisive plans. Saying Wednesday night there's a band playing downtown is better than do you want to go see one of the Wednesday night bands play downtown. It will leave no doubt in their mind you want to spend time with them again and get straight to the point. After that, don't really text or call them until a day or two before the date. Give them a reminder of the plans and save all the things you're thinking about for the date. Otherwise, you may have great conversations via text, then it's crickets on the date. If it goes well, don't leave it to chance you will see them again. Try to make more plans before you depart. If they can't make plans, at least they know the offer's on the table and you're still interested. In the meantime, make sure you pace your texts or whatever to match this. If you send a text, wait for a reply before you text again. If they only text in the evening, don't blow them up all day. If they have plans to go hang out with friends or family, don't try to text them. It comes across as needy, insecure, and that you don't have respect for her time and space. Wait until they text you back, unless it's important. That way there's always something meaningful going on, and not a one-sided relationship. Anyways, that's just what I learned reflecting on my dating experiences. How they could be so unbelievably cruel to each other. I've held for a long time. Now that when boys don't get along in high school they might have a fight and that's kind of the end of that. Or they'll just not be anywhere near one another most of the time. But if a girl doesn't like another girl they want to ruin their entire life as will go out of their way to do so. Case in point, there was a girl in my class, who I'll say is called Michelle, and another girl, who I'll say was called Becky. Michelle didn't like Becky for whatever reason and bullied her viciously. One afternoon in English when Michelle just started tearing into Becky about everything, she mocked her for the clothes she wore, despite the fact we had a school uniform so all wore the same clothes. The way she looked, she wasn't ugly. The way she smelled, she didn't smell bad. Just whatever she could say to get under her skin. To top it off she also managed to get a good portion of the class to join in berating this one girl who eventually left the room in tears. To this day I feel guilty that I didn't step up and at least try to tell everyone to leave this girl alone, because she literally didn't do anything to anyone. The worst stories of bullying I know from my school were mostly done by girls. I was really awkward all the way through middle school. I had a hard time talking to girls and was extremely self-conscious. Luckily, something clicked in high school and I started acting like a normal person. Here's how a typical interaction would go for me in manuscript. Find out Heather likes me from her friends. Heather isn't really my type, but she's not unattractive. I can't really see myself with her. She's kinda plain, and her friends are weird. All my friends would make fun of me for going out with her. I'll just tell her friends I'm not interested. Then again, it would be nice to have a girlfriend. After all, she's not that unattractive. In fact, now that I think about it, she does have a nice butt. And wait, what's that? Oh, her smile is kinda nice too. In all fairness, she is kinda cute for some reason. I can tell she's wearing a thong. Plus, she likes me. I find myself thinking about her at night and looking forward to school so I can see her. Maybe I'll talk to her tomorrow. I mean, just as friends. It's not a big deal to have a girl as a friend. I'm friends with Justin's sister Jessica after all. It's halfway through the school day and I haven't seen her. She must be out sick. Damn, this day is dragging now that she isn't here. I really miss seeing her. I love her smile. I can't wait to talk to her. Tomorrow is so far away. At least I know she likes me. I'm up late, thinking about how our relationship might go. It would be awesome if she were laying here with me. I wonder if she would want to kiss. I'd be fine with just snuggles. Heather goes well with my last name too. It's perfect. I can't wait to see her tomorrow. There she is. She's talking with her friends. So I'll wait until she's done, and I'm going to ask her to be my girlfriend. This is gonna be awesome. She's really pretty, and I can't believe she likes me. I'm so lucky. Oh look, her friends are coming my way. They're going to be ecstatic when I tell them I like her too. In fact, I'm going to just get it off my chest and tell them I've fallen for her. Wait, what do you mean Heather just started going out with Seth? You said she liked me. It's only been a couple days. Fucking asshole Seth. What does he have anyway? He doesn't deserve someone as gorgeous as her. He's the growth kid that used to pick his scabs in 3rd grade and get blood on his desk. I lay awake at nights thinking about her. All the plans I had are ruined. I lost the one girl I ever was attracted to, my soulmate. It hurts to see her now. The next day I see her sitting with fucker scabby Seth at lunch. He gives her a french fry from his tray. The asshole. I hate you, Seth. Amy approaches me and says her friend Nancy likes me. Ha, right. Like I could ever like Nancy. She's so plain. But now that I think about it, she has a cute laugh. I grew up in a decent sized town south of Tampa, Florida known for its art community. My mother is a high school art teacher and is the lead of her department. Naturally I went to the school she taught at and took her class all 4 years and saw her every day. I was very comfortable with the fact considering it was just art, so I called her mom in front of the other kids. Some of the girls caught wind of this and would try and get me to critique their artwork, thinking that they would easily get an A because I was helping them, and my mother always took it upon herself to yell out, "Stop flirting with the girls." Most of these girls were very good looking, and I won't lie, I was interested in a few of them, but they never got good grades in my mother's class because they just didn't do their work, and when I did help them, they didn't have any real subject matter. Now for where I got confused, I spent an hour every day shoulder to shoulder with many of these girls, and come to find out a year after graduation, when all of them go off to university out of state, 2 of them admit that they had a huge crush on me, but we are too afraid to admit it because they thought I would reject them due to their poor artistic talent. What's the chances of that? 2 girls that I had feelings for and spent hours on end with were too shy to say anything over a dumb grade. I just don't understand why girls always wait for guys to make the first move when we are just as shy as you. I vividly remember the day as a junior in high school when 2 girls wore the same shirt to class, and for one of them, it was the end of the world. It was a long-sleeved, striped, tight-knit shirt, just long enough to not get in trouble for being a midriff. The late 90s were a different time. The girl who was having a meltdown was absolutely devastated, not because the other girl stole her thunder, but because the other girl was from a lower social standing. I still remember being disgusted when I asked what was going on, and someone said Alexis can't get anyone to trade shirts with her, so she's stuck wearing the same outfit as the rest of the day. Alexis was legit sobbing and was just trying not to make eye contact with anyone. Halfway through the day I heard that Alexis had sent an emissary to offer the poorer girl a few dollars to change into something else. Continued to wear that shirt regularly. She probably had saved up her money for it. Alexis destroyed hers. This was in a farm town of approximately 3,000 people. How on earth could anybody be that mean? Why none of them ever liked me? I used to think I was a decent person. I wasn't great looking, but I think I was alright. I did well in school. I tried to get along with people and was polite. At the time, I thought being a decent human being somehow entitled me to affection or attention, and it blew my stupid, immature little mind that no girls ever wanted me. Turns out I was just an awkward nerd pining for the wrong people, and grew into a bitter nerd who stopped pining and was envious of everything but unable to even approach the idea of a relationship in a healthy manner. I think other people were more aware of my actual personality than I myself was. In hindsight, there probably was exactly one girl that was genuinely and seriously interested in me during high school, but I had my head so far up my own ass I didn't even realize it until years later, and we'd never spoken again after school. Not picking up on that sooner is one of my greater regrets, because it makes me wonder not only what that specifically could have been, but also how much other shit and opportunities did I simply never notice. Around 6th grade, the girls would go through phases of who they all had a crush on. Beginning of the year, every girl wanted to go out with fucking Barry because he was good at soccer. After that, Ryan got a sweet Miami Dolphins starter jacket and they were all after him. After Christmas, Matt got that sick bowl cut where they shave underneath, and it was game on for Matt. Then, your boy, Apprentice Life, was the lead in the school play. I had to sing, dance, act, and I was almost the only guy. It was my turn. I remember being wheeled around in a prop wheelchair through the halls, with my girlfriend in my lap, her best friend pushing, and like 4 other girls. Then they all just kinda took turns kissing me in front of the entire cafeteria. So, why do girls all like the same dude at the same time? Also, I just realized that I peaked in fucking 6th grade. How girls' feelings always change the last second. I'm currently in HS and there is /was IDK what she feels right now. A girl that was in love with me and her best friend that is friends with me said that she wanted to date me, so on Valentine's Day I gave her a nice card basically confessing that I like her, and at the bottom it said to talk to me so that we could be together. From there she basically read the card red in the face and smiling, but she didn't do anything. She just acted like it was business as usual, and just last Friday I overheard her talking to her friend about cute guys and how she was starting to begin something with one. And I know it's not me, so within a week of my confessing to her, and I'm guessing she just blew it off, she is already going out with someone. So it seems the love she was feeling for me just got changed, or some crap at the last second. I would say I struggled more with myself than others, to be quite frank. I was one dense teenager when it came to the opposite gender. Girls would sometimes drop comments like, "I admire how brave you are, how you dress however you want, and don't care what others think." My innocent and dumb ass couldn't see that shade coming from a mile away. One big barrier for me was that I essentially refused to make assumptions. So until a girl said the words "I like you," she could be dry humping me on the daily and I wouldn't think anything of it. What honestly made my high school love life complicated as all hell was that girls never seemed to do just that, say exactly what they wanted or what they felt. I actually thought that if I explained that to them and made it clear, girls would get it and play along. Nope. This one girl, when I was in grade 12, literally traveled a 12-hour car ride so her grandfather could let us stay in his apartment for 2 weeks, alone and unsupervised. He even made a thing about openly and non-discreetly giving her condoms before he left. She was a year older, was on break from university, etc. I really liked this girl. We tonsil dived just about every night into the wee hours despite my early school hours. She basically did everything to hint at, but refused to explicitly say she wanted to have sex. And we didn't, because like I said, I refused to make assumptions. And the day after my birthday, we broke up, because after a week and a half of no sex, she inferred that meant I didn't want to have sex. As Don Quixote would say, all is fair in love and war, right? So this is a story that happened to me during the 7th grade, so strap in. I was dating a girl for about 4 months and we were at the point of saying "I love you" and all that jazz. As I look on it now, I know now when she wanted to break up with me, about 3 months. So skip to a normal day of 7th grade. I see her hanging out with this guy and nothing crosses my mind. I figured it was one of her friends, and not wanting to disturb her, I didn't say anything. As the week goes by, I'm told that she's cheating on me by one of my friends, who's a girl, she's cheating on me. I didn't believe her, and this is the part where it goes from good to bad. I walk into the school and I see her again. I hang out with her again for a few minutes, trying to talk to her. She only gives me nods and no's. I left to check something in my backpack and her friend gives me a note. I read the note, and in a nutshell it says, "I love you. You're the best boyfriend I'll ever have. You don't deserve me, blah blah blah." I gave a laugh, not because it was a note, but because she didn't have the dignity to give it to me or say something. Turned out she was cheating on me, and I couldn't help to think I did something wrong. But karma hits her. In high school, my freshman year, she was already dating someone new. Her friend left to go to another school, and I was having a fun time. I never really cared for her after that day and life was grand. Then her boyfriend dies in a car crash. A month later, I'm walking from algebra, and she approaches me and makes some small talk. We talk for a bit, then we leave. She does this for a few days and she finally confessed that she loves me again. I immediately turn her down and tell her if she did, she would said ended our relationship in my face in the 7th grade. So I'm confused about why girls try to get a guy back when they really hurt the guy. What was wrong with their face so that they had to constantly be adding makeup and doing something to their hair? Every class, 6 to 8 classes a day, always doing makeup in their hair. I once got really annoyed by this because I hated the smell of hairspray and makeup and went on a rant asking, "I see nothing wrong with your faces, so what are you fixing?" Well, girls went AWW. Thanks. That's so sweet. Apparently I'm really smooth if I got a headache and I'm really annoyed. Who knew? I sure as hell didn't. But that is the only time I have gotten a reaction like that out of a member of the opposite sex. But I never got an answer to my question. What the hell were they fixing on their faces? And how come the amount of makeup they constantly added to their faces add up to like a thick centimeter thick layer during the day? Did they remove the makeup between classes? 12 years later this still bothers me. Depends. Some states, once you were 16, you could fuck anything down to 13, and up to a sneeze away from being in the grave. Perfectly legal. 13 to 15 though, the person they were banging had to be inside the 6-year window of their ages. Under 13, technically off limits, even between say, an 11 and a 12-year-old, or a 12 and 13-year-old. Most of these were few enough that the judge reviewing the cases had to look into why this was happening at all. 9 out of 10 times, when it was a case where pregnancy resulted, and not just two kids playing doctor or messing around, it was because one of them had been sexually abused and was acting out by getting full-on sexually involved. So, the judge had to look into those cases, and while unlikely to sentence a 13-year-old to juvie for nailing an 11 to 12-year-old or vice versa, a change in family arrangements, or possibly therapy might be needed to address whatever issues might be present, especially if some family member, neighbor, or member of their household had abused them currently, or in the past. All this sort of thing was covered in high school. I suppose it being Iowa, they were more inclined to be more explicit about issues of sexual relationships, rape, abuse, etc. as people would be headed to the big cities for college, jobs, military service, etc. a few years down the road. Oddly enough, the big city people were fairly ignorant about such issues. Lol. My first relationship was when I was 13. My first girlfriend. She was the one who asked me to be her boyfriend. I said okay, not knowing shit about relationships. I just went with the flow. We went out to the skating ring with a bunch of friends and had a good time. Had our first kiss there too. Fast forward to Monday at school, bunch of people looking at me weird. One girl comes up to me telling me that my girlfriend has hickeys on her neck. Me being 13-year-old Viren, didn't even know what a hickey was. Girlfriend comes up to me, gives me a hug, and I see the hickeys all over her neck. She tells me it's a rash. Lol. Stupid 13-year-old me shrugs it off and says okay. Lol. What an idiot. Long story short, she broke up with me on the phone and told me I was a really sweet guy and that I deserve better. She was right. Still broke my heart though. In 2019, she has been married and divorced multiple times, has over 6 babies from different dads, and is probably high on crack somewhere in the world. How they constantly have fights on Snapchat, etc. over nothing. An example is last year, one female student out of the 15 students in my year had a fight with another female student. The one that caused the fight will be called Susan and the second student will be called Amy. Susan told all of the teachers about how we were bullying her despite us being worried about her absence. Since I don't use Snapchat, I never received messages from her, but I heard she was saying nasty stuff to my fellow students. Most of the teachers were on her side and were treating us like shit. This hatred then spread among the younger years, less than 100 students in the school in total. In the end, Susan left the school, we met up with the local counselor, and had a few meetings with the headmaster.